Shalom, shalom. Kal halalim Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the prophets of that body. Shalom to the 144,001 the elect men, women, and children. Shalom. Shalom Babakar. Shabbat Shalom. Friday to Saturday is the last, the last Sabbath. The Sabbath what is it? The last Sabbath for April, the new Sabbath towards the end of April, going through to May until the change comes, is Sunday to Monday, soon to the new moon. Okay, so Shabbat Shalom. Tomorrow is also the Sabbath from Sunday evening to Monday evening. Okay, pursuant with regards to the new moon. All right. Always try and get like a sort of like a guide to the day. You pray. Always check out the verse of the day. Romans 8:2. For the law of the Spirit of life in Hamashiach Yahushai hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Okay. For the law of the Spirit of life in Hamashiach Yahushai hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Okay. I mean, the law is something of grave importance and also is something that is a beautiful thing because it gives you a moral infrastructure how to guide yourself through life, how to pray, when to pray, facing the east, things of that nature, what to eat, what not to eat, how to behave with your brother, your own people, how to treat one another, how to behave around other loved ones, how to behave as a man, there's a moral infrastructure, okay? How to groom yourself, what the kind of clothes you should wear as a man. You should dress like a man, look like a man, okay? And an Israelite man, I'm talking here, all right? And how women should behave, how we should, the infrastructure of the household, in every single way, spiritual, physical, mental, okay? It's a moral compass. The same way you use that compass on your phone if you want to find a quiet place to pray facing the east, when you're alone. The same way that moral compass is the scriptures. Okay, it's a beautiful thing. Now, all these individuals out there that talk about the law, the law, but they're still calling Jesus the Christ or the Black Messiah, are not. Um, the pushing the law is a beautiful thing, but then again, it's not going to save you. All right, doesn't mean that you go off and start smoking blunts and going back to the individual you once were, and then you start eating all sorts of bullshit foods. No, start eating pig and shrimp, crab, lobster, And if you want to, you get two women interested in you, let's do a threesome. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. You do, just at the sideline. You deal with one. You can have 5 women as long as they're single. You deal with them one at a time. One at a time. None of that 2, 3 business. All right, what Jake likes to do, making women freak off with each other, which is against the law. All right, you can't do shit like that. All right, but the thing is, you do everything to the best of your ability. Okay. Now, I was going to get a couple of scriptures lined up. I've got 1 or 2 lined up, but I thought, okay, let me just hit the button, as our teachers say, because sometimes a demon could be stopping, thinking that, you're not a good video maker, or, who's going to watch you and all these kinds of things. But then I thought to myself, I believe the elder's name is Elder Manatazak of is it the LA camp or the West Coast camp? The elder from GMS Get This Work too. He said that, the angels are recording, and we see the angels, man. We see them. Because the angelic dimensions are open to us. We can see them. I can see them right now. And I'm not saying that in a proud manner. All right. But now back to the fact of the matter. You follow the law to the best of your ability. Example, you can't, during the Passover, You can't slaughter a fresh lamb. You know how, all the meticulous details you've got to keep. You know how aged the lamb should be, how long you should rear it for, and then you got to put the lamb to death a certain way. And then you got to put the blood on the doorpost of your home, right? Now, if we put blood on our doorpost of the home, you know, somebody's going to call the damn police. And for the most part, a lot of us live in the cities. We can't have chicken, animals in our back garden like that, you know, unless you live on a farm. The Lord has blessed you with money and interest, and a place where you can do things like that, right? So there's a lot of things that we can't keep. A lot of you Jakes that are married, that live with your wife in the same house, you don't have a separate home for her when she's on her monthly. That makes you unclean as well. You could be going to work on the Sabbath. That makes you, not follow the law as well. You could be catching a bus, For example, here in the city of London, you can't drive into London. You've got something called congestion charge. So a lot of people usually take public transport. You sit on the train, the woman could be on her rag, and then you sit there, and she just got off the seat, and then you're looking for a place to sit, and you sit down. Some woman's on her rag, she's unclean. It makes you unclean. So there's a lot of things, but like I said, we do everything to the best of your ability. All right, but that's not going to save you. Okay, because the Lord knew. Okay, what the Lord put us in these predicaments is to teach us right from wrong. Okay, so we have a fully, um, you become a fully rounded person on this side, knowing evil from, no, sorry, knowing good from evil. All right, knowing that, okay, this is the importance of the Lord. This is the reason why we do it. And in the kingdom, we're going to be spiritually programmed to keep it right. Okay, but okay, by you individuals out there saying that the law is important and the law is going to save you, you're trying to diminish the fact that Yahweh Shai gave himself up for the elect if you're part of that number. All right. So you're basically saying that his sacrifice is nothing. All right. Because the Lord Yahweh Shai, his majesty, was sacrificed, man. All right. He was a sacrificial lamb for the elect. All right. He had to bring back the elect. Okay. Usually we do bullocks and other types of animals and lambs that we do, on the altar. All right. But to bring back the elect, because the elect had gone off. All right. Yahweh Shai was the ultimate sacrifice. And it pleased the Most High Yahweh to bruise him. Okay? So the spirit of life, man, that Hamashiach Yahweh Shai's sacrifice has given us, and the fact that he has redeemed us, man, brought us back. That's why the hopeful elect are going through what they're going through. Because a lot of the hopeful elect are feeling, certain physical pains, mental pains, mental anguish, go through it daily. All right? Because you're going to feel a little bit of what the Lord went through. Obviously, in our frail, weak bodies, and we could never ever be like our Lord, man. We'll be something like him in the kingdom, but he's our Lord, man. He's our older big brother, man. Yahweh Shai, man. His Majesty. What he did, we can never do that. If we went through what he went through, man, we'd all be dead. What he went through, man, the humiliation, the beatings, the death, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of pain and anguish, mental anguish, sweating out blood. And I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg. Are you individuals saying that by not even calling on his name? And then also by saying that the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord is going to save you. Wear your fringes at work, brother. You don't have to do that. You've got to be moving wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. I believe that's in the book of Matthew, 10:16, I think. Lord, you've got to move wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. So you can't wear your fringes all the time. You got a job. You got to wear a certain uniform. Let's just say you work in a hotel. booking clients in or something, or you're a hotel manager, you're going to walk around with your suit, and sometimes you might even have to wear a tie. Even though that's off, but we're in captivity. What are you going to do? Are you going to wear fringes with that? You're going to get sacked. You're going to get fired. So you got to move wise as serpent, harmless as a dove, even though fringes are part of the law, right? Let me just go to Romans 8 and 2 NIV. 1 second. Romans 8 and 2 NLT. And because you belong to him, the power of the living of Salakia. And because you belong to him, the power of the life-giving spirit has freed you from the power of sin that leads to death. Okay. Try to see different translations. NIV. NIV. Because through Hamashiach Yahushua, the law of the Spirit who gives life has set you free from the law of sin and death. Because through Hamashiach Yahushua, the law of the Spirit who gives life has set you free from the law of sin and death. So we do better, but we're not perfect. All our righteousness is as filthy rags. So those of you out there, you Sakari guys or ex-Sakari guys that say, yeah, you're perfect, you're moving perfect. Because I've heard some of you say that. Some of you IUIC guys say that you move perfect. Allegedly you say stuff like that. Hey, all your righteousness is as filthy rags, man. If you're not listen, if you could be the most grimiest Jake and now you're in the truth and you got yourself so-called right. You could be right. And then again, you got another Jake that, has always been somewhat okay and now is in the truth, has got the fringes, does what he has um, to try and do right. Okay. But you might not be part of that number to be saved. You'll still die a horrible death. And you got the grimiest Jake that's trying to do right. Okay. He's been chosen from the foundation of the earth. The Lord does stuff like that. So it's not all about the law. Doesn't mean that you disregard the law and be off, but you do it to the best of your ability. Because remember, we are in captivity, man. And I mentioned a few instances. All right. Okay. Let's just say the Sabbath falls on a Wednesday. What are you gonna do? You're gonna ring up. You're gonna call in sick every Wednesday for the following month. Or I can't come in Wednesday. I'll come in this day. You know why? Because it's a Sabbath. You're gonna get sacked. You're gonna get fired. You're gonna say, okay, you can't work that day. I'll get somebody else that will. That's an example there. Because you're not even supposed to even pick up a stick on the day of the Sabbath, man. But some of us live in households where everybody's not in the truth, And sometimes you got to do things like, you might have elder parents that you can take care of. You might have children that, where you're in for example, you might have, children that know, but they're not 100% immersed in it. Like, for example, they might not keep, the Sabbath same as you. So you might have to do certain things, like young children, because they're too young. They don't know. You can't put that stipulation on them and that and all that. Um, uh, or give them that. You can't put that stipulation on them because they're young. They don't know. They grew up as Israelite foreigners, but they're doing what are the bare minimum they're doing? They're praying in the name for the most part. That they can do. They don't eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. That they can do. The ladies dress appropriately. And you raise your sons as men. You can do all that. Teach them to be respectful, things of that nature. And sometimes, because they're young, they might not be able to keep the Passover. You can't put all that emphasis. What's the word? You can't put that responsibility on them yet because we're young in the truth, and the Lord sometimes understands that. And if you're an Israelite foreigner where other family members follow different doctrines, and you could be in an extended family, right, living together because it's a cultural thing, to take care of your elders as they get older, especially if you're the oldest son in the family and everybody else has moved out. What are you going to do? The Lord understands these things because the Lord puts you in it. The Lord's looking at you right now. The angels are recording. The angels are a spiritual CCTV, recording everything to see how you maneuver in situations like that. Like Elder Amawan Gabar talked about the Passover. If you're in the truth, and your family isn't, you make your Passover meal, take the wine, get a small bottle of wine or whatever, go in your room and celebrate the Passover or do the Passover ceremony. That's an example. All right. So Romans 8 and 2 again, because through Hamashiach Yahushua, the law of the Spirit who gives life has set you free from the law of sin and death. All right. Because, in the ancient world, you committed sin, the smallest thing, man, it meant death. Okay. Now, if we were judged by the law and the law only, IUIC would all be deleted by now. All right. Sakari would all be deleted. Like shit, we'll all be deleted right now. All right. What about the mixed fabrics you wear? That's an example here. All right. And the only people that are redeemed through the blood of Hamashiach Yahushua are the elect, because they were chosen from the foundation of the earth. John 15:16, I have chosen, ye have chosen, no, let me go to John 15:16 before I butcher it. I'm getting up in age, man. I forget certain words sometimes. It's crazy. Damn demons. John 15:16, King James Version. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you. Ye have not chosen me, but ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. All right. We ask the Father in our King's name. We say that's hence the reason why we say Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. And the elect have the name, and the elect are going to, paraphrasing the scripture, and the elect are going to praise the name and call upon the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, not no fucking Jebus to Christ. I hate saying that J word, man. That's why I say Jebus. I don't want to say the Jesus. I hate that damn word. It's like that movie. If you've seen Jaws, the first one, right? When that guy comes in to catch the shark, and he gets his nails and he scratches the blackboard, that screeching noise. That's what I feel when I hear that damn word, Jebus. I hate that damn word, man. I hate the names of other gods, man. Like Allah and all that. Oh, God, it irks me. I even hate the term black. Calling a brother black. I hate that shit. Salaki, I'm just venting, man. I hate this world, man. Oh yeah, I said Matthew 10:16. I want to see if I quoted it correct. Matthew 10:16 KJV. Yeah. Hence the reason, as mentioned earlier, you got to be, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. All right. So the elect are chosen from the foundation of the earth. All right. The law is important, but it's not 100% emphasis on that specifically alone, because we can't keep it properly on this side, and we don't have the bodies because all our righteousness is as filthy rags. So Hamashiach Yahushua freed us from the law of sin and death, man. All right. His blood, and his blood was shed for the elect's sake. All right. He wasn't shed for the whole fucking world, because the law was only given to the Israelites. All right. And within that, the 1/3, the elect. All right. Pursuing the book of Zechariah 13 and 8, 13 and 9. I believe that's where 1/3 will make it through. The other 2/3 will be deleted. And the other 2/3 will come back in the kingdom as babes, sons and daughters of the elect men, the 144,000. All right. And there'll be also a greater multitude that will be saved as well. Ephesians 2 and 8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of the Most High. Okay, so by grace, okay, we are given a time period to get yourself right, and then you try your damnedest, right, in a righteous aspect to get yourself right. All right. And if it's the Lord's will, you'll be saved. And the Lord will give you spiritual indications along the way that you're going in the right direction. Okay. Hence the reason why we find comfort in the scriptures, and most importantly, the name of Yahweh Bashim Shai, and then the scriptures. Ephesians 2:8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of the Most High Yahweh. Not of works, lest any man should boast. It's not just works alone, man. All right. You can be a super Jake, man, with fringes, looking royal. That's a beautiful thing. But if you're calling on Jesus the Christ, and you're just saying the law, the law, the law, the law, and, hey, you could still be not part of that number to be saved, man. Okay. And then again, you could be. And the Lord might wake you up saying, okay, yeah, you can keep the law to the best of your ability. But it's not just all emphasized on the law. All right. Because we're in captivity. Remember that. Just because you're in captivity doesn't mean you think to yourself, oh, I'm in captivity. I can't eat chicken, beef, or lamb. Let me go back to the pork. Nah, you can't do that. Oh, we're in captivity. I'm stressed out. I'm going to go and roll a blunt, man. No. You're stressed out. Pray to Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay? Get your ass home. Pray again. Shower up. And put yourself a nice glass of yayan, man. Have some wine. Have a beer. Have a shot. You know? You know? Relax your mind. Pray. Keep praying in your mind, man. Pray without ceasing. All right? That's the examples there of how you try and find a lawful balance, man. You're stressed out, pray, have a drink. Within reason, of course. We don't get drunk. You can get nice on the weekend when you got time, but at home. I'm just giving you little examples like that. All right. Common sense is key also. But sense is not common amongst our people. That's for sure. See if there's anything else that I could chuck in. I'll leave that one alone. I think I just wanted to do a quick hitter, regarding the verse of the day. So Romans 8:2, man. For the law of the Spirit of life in Hamashiach Yahushua hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Romans 8:2, verse of the day. Okay. Shalom Barakar, 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, 6:12. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. We're soon going home, Jake. We're going home soon, man. Remember, this is not forever. There's a finishing line for everything. All right? All right? And our life is going to begin very soon, man. We're going to go through the last stretch. It's going to be hard. But remember one thing. If you're part of that number, you're getting your licks now. While everyone is living so-called hunky-dory. All right? Everything's working out for them. You're getting your licks now. So when that hell breaks loose, that's when those blessings are going to be coming in. But you're going to be tested, though. But then remember one more thing. Once Esau makes his move, the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is going to make his move and show himself even more. And I know you Jakes that are part of that number, if you believe that, part of the hopeful elect are seeing miracles on a daily basis. All right? And you can feel the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai around you, and you can see and feel the angels around you. Okay? Anyway, Shalom. Mawath Abad Babal, Kwam Yashrala, Shalom. And one more thing I want to add as well. Right? The one person in this world that may watch or listen to this video, because I know I don't get a lot of views, but it's okay, it's cool. I urge you to subscribe to the Men of the Lord, the Men of Great Millstone, from our apostles on down. Okay? All praise to Yahweh Shem Shalom.